Hey y'all. Happy. What is this? Tuesday afternoon. We are back. We are back. I do have the coverage of Vice President Kamala Harris's participation in a conversation with the National Association of Black Journalists. This is similar to when Donald Trump came. This is going to be a 3 journalist panel as well, but this time it is 2 males and a female. And we are going to see what type of questions they ask her, if we get any answers, and if they are going to do any real-time fact checking or pressing her on answers they deem may not be satisfactory. But let's take a quick peek and see who is in the chat. Hey Eric, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping by. Hey Celine, welcome. Let's see. This looks like it is a shade under an hour, which is long for this chick. But let's see exactly what was said.
Journalists President Ken Lemon.
So not Ken Lemon.
Good afternoon.
You know, he's from our neck of the woods.
From the National Association of Black Journalists, the largest in the nation association for journalists of color. For 49 years, we have advocated for fair newsrooms and fair coverage of Black people in the news. We also train journalists and media professionals and support emerging media members. I am proud to salute the 44 brave souls who established the National Association of Black Journalists in 1975. Our founders present, would you please stand?
All right, how do y'all feel about what this has become?
I'd like to also recognize our board of directors who work tirelessly for our members. Our board members present, please stand. I salute our staff and volunteers who have made this event possible. Please stand or wave your hands wherever you are.
Yeah, I also
works at
salute
Channel
our
9
esteemed
here
members,
in
Charlotte.
Those who are following us from home or at work. This special event is a function of our mission to inform journalists covering the news and provide a needed service to those looking to journalists to inform them better. Every 4 years, we ask the presidential nominees to meet with us and answer questions about important issues. I am proud to say that for the first time in 24 years, both the Republican and the Democratic nominees have accepted our invitation. Just like the last discussion, PolitiFact will provide real-time fact-checking of the conversation via hashtag NABJ fact check on social media and through the live feed.
No, I haven't seen it yet, Celine. I'll take a look at it.
Again, thank you so much for attending.
Child, all this impromptu coverage and stuff going on. I have not been able to do any recording that I was going to do today. But let's see. Let's see what we talk about.
Let's meet our 3 moderators for today's discussion. Jaron Keith Gaynor is the White House correspondent and managing editor of politics for The Griot. Eugene Daniels is co-author of the Politico Playbook and is Politico's White House correspondent.
What is happening with them pants legs?
Tanya Mosley is the co-host of NPR and WHYY's Fresh Air.
Oh, Lord.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to get right to it. Without further ado, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Why is this one in the middle looking like a Holiday Heart boyfriend chef? What is his name?
This and making the time. I'm just a little bit busy right now. We want to start on an issue that Americans across the country say is their number one concern, and that's the economy. A question that has been asked of you and everybody that's on the Democratic side is whether or not voters are better off now than they were 4 years ago. Are they better off now than they were 4 years ago?
So when we came into, well, first of all, let me just say, it is good to be with the National Association of Black Journalists, and I thank you for the work you do.
I mean, but you took long enough to get over there.
It's very important that we ensure that this organization and your members always have the resources and the platforms to deliver the voices that must be heard. So I thank you for hosting me today. 4 years ago, when we came in during the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. We came in during the worst public health epidemic in centuries. We came in after the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
When? Where?
And a lot of it due in large part to the mismanagement by the former president as it relates to COVID and obviously January 6th. And we had then a lot of work to do to clean up a mess.
Ma'am, that was not the question. Are we better off?
Over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
That's not
we
true.
We have the lowest Black unemployment rate in generations.
Not true either.
We have invested in small businesses, and they're to the benefit of many people, but including Black small businesses, some of the highest rate of creation of new Black small businesses in years. We have done the work of capping the cost of prescription medication for our seniors for issues like insulin. And again, I'm speaking to the Black journalists who care about all people, but in particular, I'll talk about the impact on Black people, where we know Black folks are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. And we have now finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month, capped the cost of prescription medication for our seniors at $2,000 a year, because we, unlike the former president,
this is a pattern, sir. This is a pattern.
Finally, have allowed Medicare to negotiate
the first
drug
question was,
prices
are we
against
better
other
off?
pharmaceutical companies. And these are just some of the accomplishments. Is the price of groceries still too high? Yes. Do we have more work to do? Yes.
Okay, but groceries are higher now than they were when y'all took office. So how was that cleaning up Donald Trump's
of leadership for our country? That is about, in particular, turning the page on an era that sadly has shown us attempts by some to incite fear, to create division in our country, and to do the work that is about bringing some level of optimism and, dare I say, ambition about what I know is possible in our country. And so my plan for the economy includes what I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy. What we can do to grow an opportunity economy where all people have access to the resources to compete, to apply their incredible work ethic, their ambition, their aspirations, and their dreams, and actually not just get by, but get ahead. And I can talk in more detail about it, but specifically, I'll mention a few things.
Yeah.
One of the big issues that affects people right now in terms of the economy and their economic well-being is we have a shortage of housing supply. It's too expensive. People can't afford to buy a home. You know, we grew up, our parents, where they had the ability to somehow believe the American dream was attainable. Not so much for younger working people. And I recognize that. So my approach is a new approach, which is to say, let's just take this and deal with it head on. And part of my approach is to say, I'm gonna employ and engage the private sector, in particular home builders with tax credits, to give them the incentive to create new housing, 3 million by the end of my first term, and understanding that not everybody is, handed a silver spoon, but works hard and is trying to save up for a down payment. Part of my plan under my opportunity economy is to give first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance so they can just get their foot in the door to be able to then engage in what will prove to be their opportunity to build intergenerational wealth. And here's my personal experience coming at that. I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother was hardworking. She raised me and my sister Maya. She saved up. And it was only by the time I was a teenager that she could afford to actually buy her first home. And I know, and I identify with, I know where I come from.
Madam Vice
And
President.
I know, but I'm just gonna finish. I know
Gosh, you
that
about to
so
cut
many
this shit
people
short.
work so hard and should have the opportunity to just get their foot in the door. Again, so it's not just about
Ma'am, getting your
by the
foot in
family.
the door,
I'd like to
that
ask
doesn't
you
guarantee
more about
success.
the opportunity economy. Housing
Yeah.
is a part of it, as well as expanding the earned income tax credit,
Yeah.
financial support, as you mentioned, for first-time buyers,
Yeah.
and a $50,000 tax deduction for startups and small businesses.
Yes.
But I want to talk to you about the squeeze that millions of Americans are also dealing with that impacts their ability to work and make money, and that is childcare and
Yeah.
elder care.
Yeah.
And it's a squeeze for millions of
Mhm.
people. In some parts of the country, it costs more for childcare than for rents. I think
That's right.
Bloomberg recently reported an average of $33,000 a year.
Mhm.
So I'm just
Mhm.
wondering,
But
you
that kind of
mentioned
money,
that
you can stay at home
in
so
your
damn
opportunity
cheap. That shit's
economy,
stupid.
a child tax credit, but that's just one part of an ecosystem.
Right.
Please tell us, what plans will you propose to guarantee that families can actually afford childcare and elder care?
So to your point, it is sadly the state of affairs in our country that working people often have to decide to either be able to work or be able to afford childcare. Like they can't afford childcare and actually do the work that they want to do because it's too expensive and it doesn't actually level out in terms of the expense versus the income. My plan is that no family, no working family should pay more than 7% of their income in childcare. Because I know
Well, if I make $1 million a
when
year,
you talk
7%
about
of
the
that is
return
a
on
damn
that
lot.
investment, allowing people to work, allowing people to pursue their dreams in terms of how they want to work, where they want to work, benefits us all. It strengthens the entire economy. We saw, for example, during the pandemic, what happened. And it sadly has dissipated as a conversation that we need to resuscitate, which is the number of women that had to leave the workforce because of a lack of childcare and home health care. And so many of our families, and particular women, end up carrying the responsibility. Men do too, of course. What we call people who are in the sandwich generation.
Exactly.
Who have young children and are also taking care of their parents. And it is just absolutely too expensive for them to be able to work and do that. So my plan is not only about 7% of income for working people for childcare, but also we need to do better for our childcare providers and our home healthcare providers in terms of ensuring that they receive the wages that they deserve based on the dignity of their work. I have spent time with home healthcare providers, and their work is some of the most taxing work you can imagine. And I actually, when my mother was sick with cancer, did a lot in terms of taking care of her. And the work that is about taking care of a loved one, in particular an elder, is extraordinarily heavy in terms of the emotional toll, the time it takes. And we do it because that is what we do. But not everyone has the ability to take time from work to do it. And they need help. And we need to make sure we have home health care workers that can help them. But I want to also get back to the earlier point that you made about extending the child tax credit. So part of my new approach is we need to expand the child tax credit. And so part of my plan that is under an opportunity economy is to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that young families in particular, for the first year of their child's life, which is an extraordinarily important time in their development, have the resources to be able to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy children's clothing, and not have to worry about whether they're going to be able to meet their other needs. And I don't need to remind anybody here, especially these esteemed journalists, but when we expanded the child tax credit a couple years ago, we reduced Black child poverty by half. And so again, if you talk about the benefit, and if you think about the benefit to the economy overall, it strengthens our economy to do things like pay attention to affordable childcare, affordable home health care, and extending the child tax credit.
Madam Vice President, Black men, as you know, are a closely watched voting bloc. You've hosted Black men at your residence.
Yep.
You have engaged Black men and centered them in your economic opportunity tour.
Mhm.
But polling shows that some Black men, particularly young Black men, are considering voting for Donald Trump, and they see him as better for the economy. What is your message to young Black male voters who feel left out of this economy, and how can your economic policies materially change their lives?
So I appreciate the spirit of the question, but I'll tell you, I've often been asked this question in a way that I've had to respond by first saying that I think it's very important to not operate from the assumption that Black men are in anybody's pocket. Black men are like any other voting group. You got to earn their vote. So I'm working to earn the vote, not assuming I'm going to have it because I am Black, but because
Oh
the
shit! Did she
policies
just say she
and the
Black?
perspectives I have understands what we must do to recognize the needs of all communities. And I intend to be a president for all people. Specifically as it relates to what we need to do, to your point around economic opportunity. Yes, I started way before I was at the top of the ticket at what I called an economic opportunity tour, focused on Black men. Understanding that, for example, we have so many entrepreneurs in the community who do not have access to capital, but they've got great ideas, an incredible work ethic, the ambition, the aspiration, the dream, but don't have the relationships necessarily. So my work has included, as vice president, getting billions more dollars into community banks, including working with the big banks to do that, so that we can increase access to capital for our small businesses, for our startups. Part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again,
Ma'am, you have
when
to have your
people
business
the
intact and file
opportunity to have
taxes
the
to get a
resources
tax
to get
credit. The
started,
hell is she
they're
talking
going to put
about?
the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it.
Which means you
And
already got to have
part
the
of
money
what I also
anyway.
know is that our young Black men, our Black men, just like any group of people, anybody, our small businesses are really the backbone of our economy overall. And when they do better economically, we all do better. Part of my work is about understanding what we need to do in dealing with, for example, the historic inequities that have faced the Black community around home ownership, right? I don't have to go through the history with anybody here about what that has meant in terms of redlining, what that has meant in terms of biases and home appraisals, and what the impact it has had on stemming the opportunity to build intergenerational wealth because of those obstacles. So part of the work that I have done and will continue to do is identify, speak truth about those obstacles, and address them. Another example is medical debt. 1 in 4 Black families or individuals is more likely to carry medical debt than others. So part of my perspective, and as vice president, part of the work that we have done is to say that we're going to eliminate medical debt from being on your credit score.
I can get that part.
Because until now, medical debt worked against your credit score, and people know their credit score, like your weight, right? You know that number.
Yeah, that medical debt
And the
plummet on your
difference
credit score.
between
Now that's
what that number is
straight
and what it
facts
needs
right
to be
there.
is the difference between you being able to get a car loan, a small business loan, or even a leasing on an apartment. And so part of my approach is understanding the obstacles that traditionally and currently exist
That part right there,
to
sir.
allow
Yeah.
anyone, including Black men,
She's talking about
be
getting
able to achieve
25,
economic
but if you need 50
wealth.
men, you got
And
to
I'm
figure out
gonna
how to
tell
get the
you,
other
I
25.
don't think it is sufficient to just only talk about economic policy around reducing unemployment. It is an important marker, and I'm proud of the work that we've done thus far, but it should be a baseline there. Everybody's working. The point is, do people have an opportunity to build wealth?
No, we
if
don't.
that's what they choose to do, if that's what they want to do. And a lot of my perspective as we go forward is just that. I believe that there are a lot of opportunities that are available to the American
Such as
people
what?
if we see people and understand what they want for themselves and their families, and then meet them where they are.
Madam Vice President, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the war in Gaza. You've called for a ceasefire hostage deal and a two-state solution as an end to the war for many months now. And while you've expressed support for Israel to defend itself, a two-state solution and a ceasefire are at odds with what Benjamin Netanyahu has said is their right to defense. If it matters, as you say, how Israel defends itself, where do you see the line between aggression and defense? And our power as Israel's ally to do something?
Okay, a lot to unpack in what you just said. So let's start with this.
No, really not.
I absolutely believe that this war has to end, and it has to end as soon as possible. And the way that will be achieved is by getting a hostage deal and the ceasefire deal done. And we are working around the clock to achieve that end. Stepping back, October 7, 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered, and actually, and some Americans, by the way, in that number, slaughtered. Young people who were attending a concert, women were horribly raped. And yes, so I have said, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And
But Madam Vice President, I think my ask is the
but no,
difference
let me
between
finish.
Yeah,
aggression
bust
and
her
defense.
up,
It's
bust her
important to
up.
put it in context, which is what I'm doing, and I'll get to that.
What?
And so how it does so matters. And far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed, women and children. We have seen with horror the images coming out of Gaza, and we have to take that seriously. And we have to agree that not
Girls,
only
you don't stop
must
playing
we
in her face.
end this war, but we have to have a goal of a two-state solution, because there must be stability and peace in that region, in as much as what we do in our goal is to ensure that Israelis have security and Palestinians in equal measure have security, have self-determination and dignity.
A question for you on that, though. What levers does the U.S. have to support Palestinians in their right to self-determination? And is it even possible as Israel's ally?
Well, absolutely. I will tell you, I have been actively
It's possible. So what you
involved
got?
in, for example, meeting not only with Israeli officials, but with Arab officials to talk about how we can construct a day after scenario where we participate in ensuring those exact goals that I outlined, including as part of the principles that should be applied to those goals, that there be no reoccupation of Gaza, that there be no changing of the territorial lines in Gaza, that there be an ability to have security in the region for all concerned, in a way that we create stability, and let us also recognize in a way that ensures that Iran is not empowered
Hey, take heed.
in this whole scenario in terms of the peace and stability of the region. But absolutely, the United States of America absolutely has a role, which is why we have been active, in particular with the Qataris and the Egyptians, around attempting to get
Egyptians ain't in
a
this.
deal done and get it done as
These are
quickly as
lies,
possible.
yo.
Just
What is
to follow up really
bitch,
quickly.
you
is there
run
a
the United
specific
States of
policy
America.
change
Why
that
is
you
this not done?
as President of the United States would say you would do that would help this along? Because you've gotten a lot of credit for emphasizing the humanity of Palestinians. But what I often hear from folks is that there's no policy change that either you or the president,
Oh
President
shit, not the
Biden, have
soy
gone
boy
on
coming
said
for
they would
her.
do. Is there a specific policy change as president that you would do in our helping of Israel?
We
in
need
this
to
war?
get this deal done, and we need to get it done immediately. And
in the
that
way
is
that-
my position, and that is my policy. We need to get this deal done.
Get the deal
in the
done as
way
the
that we
policy.
send weapons, in the way that we interact as their ally? Are there specific policy changes?
Well, Eugene, for example, one of the things that we have done that I am entirely supportive of is the pause that we've put on the 2,000-pound bombs. And so there is some leverage that we have had and used. But ultimately, the thing that is going to unlock everything else in that region is getting this deal done. And I'm not going to disclose private conversations, but I will tell you, I've had direct conversations with the Prime Minister, with the President of Israel, with Egyptian leaders, and with our allies. And I think we've made ourselves very clear this deal needs to get done in the best interest of everyone in the region, including getting those hostages out who, I mean, we saw the latest example of what happened with the 6 most recently, one of whom was an American citizen.
Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Listen, he clearly asked her what new policies would she enact to get a resolution. She said getting the deal done is the policy. Ma'am, you can't show up like that when you have no track record of success. Now, if you was really debarring, you know what I'm saying, these countries out here like that, you could come up here and talk that kind of shit. But you have no record of success. None. And you up here talking like you really got something done, and people, you know, say hope that they'll send their loved ones' remains back so they can have a decent funeral. Cause the hell, that at this point that ain't even guaranteed messing around with you, and you coming up on here talking big dog shit. Nah, hold up, wait, I'm offended, and I don't even have nobody over there. I'm offended because they ain't how this supposed to go. It's real disrespect. Real disrespectful. But let's continue on.
But what do you say to those that say that's not enough, that stopping the 2,000-pound bombs the one time wasn't enough, that this administration, your possible administration, has to do more?
Well, we are doing the work of putting the pressure on all parties.
Damn, how you doing the work and you sit up here talking to them?
But let me be very clear also. I support Israel's ability to defend itself. And I support the need for Palestinians to have dignity, self-determination, and security as we move forward and get a two-state deal done. But right now, the thing we need to get done is this hostage deal and this ceasefire deal. We need a ceasefire. We need the hostage deal.
I want to switch gears to racial justice, Madam Vice President. Last month, you eulogized Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
Jackson Lee's signature bill, one of a few, was H.R. 40, which would create a commission to study the history of U.S. slavery and study the issue of reparations. She introduced H.R. 40 every session of Congress, taking up the mantle from Congressman John Conyers. This is a bill that you have co-sponsored as a U.S. Senator. Yet, this has, despite the fact that this has been, similar commissions have been created on the state level and on the local level, is yet to pass in Congress, let alone come out of committee. Congresswoman Jackson Lee, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and other advocates have called for President Biden to take executive action to create this commission. Would you, as president, take executive action to create this commission, or do you believe that it should happen in Congress?
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, Sheila Jackson Lee, she was an extraordinary leader who we just recently lost, and she was a friend and a real champion for so many issues. So I feel compelled to say that about her. On the issue of what we need to do going forward, look, first of all, we just need to speak truth about history, in spite of the fact that some people would try and erase history and try and teach our children otherwise. We need to speak truth about the generational impact of our history in terms of the generational impact of slavery, the generational impact of redlining, of Jim Crow law. I could go on and on and on. These are facts that have had impact. And we need to speak truth about it. And we need to speak truth about it in a way that is about deriving solutions. And frankly, I think that we, and part of that is studying it to figure out exactly what we need to do. But part of what we can do right now is, for example, what I'm talking about in terms of building an opportunity economy. which is addressing explicitly, and
Hold it.
we need to.
Hold on,
we
y'all.
need to-
Question. If we get this commission together to study the effects of slavery, to understand slavery in a manner that the rest of us do not, wouldn't you have to have been a participant in slavery? So how, I'm just confused. How some 60-year-old professor go sit around and tell me about how I'm traumatized from slavery when neither one of us has ever actually been in slavery? I'm just confused. Exactly. Yeah. Cut me. What Jason said, cut me the check. Just cut the check. Y'all figure out how much the check need to be and go ahead and hit that direct deposit. That's all I'm concerned with. And then I can proceed to go ahead and get up out this country. But yeah, I'm just confused. Who is gonna be doing the studying that, you know what I'm saying, was actually enslaved to understand what that was? Because wouldn't the study be speculation? I'm just confused. Wouldn't that be speculation? Just because I'm trying to understand what's going on. She really didn't answer that question though. Because the question was, and y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Put a 2 in the chat if I'm wrong. Wasn't the question, if you were president, would you not sign the executive order for creation of this commission? Was that not the question? Was that the question? At least that's how I understood it. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. I got a lash in my eye. She ain't answered this question. Okay, so that was the question. All right, well, let's continue on because I just not received the answer.
And we need to speak truth about it in a way that is about deriving solutions. And frankly, I think that we, and part of that is studying it to figure out exactly what we need to do. But part of what we can do right now is, for example, what I'm talking about in terms of building an opportunity economy.
Everybody got that.
Addressing explicitly the obstacles that historically and currently exist and dealing with them. Student loan debt, medical debt, bias in home appraisals. What we need to do in terms of dealing with an issue that I have championed for years, Black maternal mortality.
I already told y'all what's going on with
3
that.
to 4 times more likely to die in connection with childbirth than other women.
That's because we don't go to the doctor like other women.
We know that the reasons for that include disparities that pre-exist her pregnancy, including disparities that exist in the system during her pregnancy. So all of those things must be addressed.
Do you have a position
That's somebody who's gonna have
that
any
should
children?
happen? This commission should happen through executive order or via Congress?
I think Congress ultimately will have the ability to do this work. I'm not.
We didn't ask you about
discounting the
Congress. We asked
importance
about
of
you.
any executive action, but ultimately Congress. Because if you're going to talk about it in any substantial way, there will be hearings, there will be a level of public education and dialogue and I think that was part of the spirit behind the congressional action thus far, to ensure that everyone can participate in this conversation in a way that elevates knowledge about history and the reference points that are the impetus of this conversation. Especially, again, when people are trying to deny history, when people are, so-called leaders are saying that enslaved people benefited from slavery. I mean, let's talk about the Delta here in terms of the work that needs to be done. It's profound.
Madam Vice President, I want to move to Springfield, Ohio, and what's happening there. We've seen school closures, parents worried about their kids leaving the home because of racist conspiracy theories that I won't repeat here, but they have been repeated by leaders on the Republican side.
With video. audio
former President Trump,
in
and Vice Presidential nominee J.D.
live
Vance.
testimony.
From your perspective, is this just a case of irredeemable racism that can't be mitigated by any rational action, or is this a situation in which a federal response could help this community heal? There's a question of resources and
Well, no, I'll let you finish and then I'll speak.
No.
It's a crying shame. I mean, my heart breaks for this community. You know, there were children, elementary school children, who it was school photo day. You remember what that's like? Going to school on picture day? Who were dressed up in their best, got all ready, knew what they were going to wear the night before, and had to be evacuated. Children. A whole community put in fear. And I'll say a couple things about it. One, you know, I learned a long time ago in my career, having a background as a prosecutor.
Hey, Tree.
When you have these positions, when you have that kind of microphone in front of you, you really ought to understand at a very deep level how much your words have meaning. I learned at a very young stage in my career that the meaning of my words.
Hold it. Wasn't the question, what would you do to heal this community? What the hell does that have to do with picture day back when we was in school? What they got to do with this? Send it to me, Eric, if you still have it. If you have it. This broad don't answer questions. And it was who was it? I think it was Officer Tatum. Shout out to Officer Tatum. One of his videos that I watched last week. He actually had the audio from a 911 call of a citizen calling in about people consuming the pets. He's like, look, I'm seeing this with my own eyes. This is a problem. There is a section of town where this is going on a regular basis. When are y'all coming to do something about it? I know my neighbors have called multiple times about this. We're going to keep calling until you do something. All of this was in that 911 recording. So I don't understand why we still talking about this. It's not happening. I really don't understand why we're still doing it. It's some foolishness.
Words could impact whether somebody was free or in prison. As Attorney General, I was of California, 5th largest economy in the world. I was acutely aware that my words could move markets. When you are bestowed with a microphone that is that big, there is a profound responsibility that comes with that. That is an extension of what should not be lost in this moment, this concept of the public trust. To then understand what the public trust means. It means that you have been invested with trust to be responsible in the way you use your words, much less how you conduct yourself. And especially when you have been and then seek to be again President of the United States of America.
Management.
And so I go back to, it's a crying shame, literally. What's happening to those families, those children in that community, not to mention what is happening in terms of look, you say you care about law enforcement resources being put into this because of these serious threats that are being issued against a community that is living a productive, good life before this happened. And spewing lies that are grounded in tropes that are age old. And look, I said it not very far from here the other day at the debate. This is not new. This is not new in terms of these tropes. This is not new in terms of where it's coming from. And, you know, whether it is refusing to rent to people, rent to Black families, whether it is taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times against 5 innocent Black and Latino teenagers, the Central Park 5, calling for their execution, whether it is referring to the first Black president of the United States with a lie, birther lies. And look,
We have not had a Black president.
the American people deserve, and I do believe want better than
That
this.
girl ain't answer these
I
questions
do believe
child,
that.
about nothing.
I know the vast majority of us as Americans know we have so much more in common than what separates us. I know that.
We damn near all
know
us broke.
That
So, yeah, you right
regardless
about that.
of someone's background, their race, their gender, their geographic location, I know that people are deeply troubled by what is happening to that community in Springfield, Ohio. And it's got to stop. And we've got to say that you cannot be entrusted with standing behind the seal of the President of the United States of America, engaging in that hateful rhetoric that, as usual, is designed to divide us as a country.
Decline. I mean, I have no
designed-
idea. Because first off, it's the same trope and the same damn talking point. They said Biden said that about Trump the last go round. Look at, I'm talking about as Black people. Look at where we at. We worse off. Obama said that about baby Bush. We was completely dismayed. I can't tell which one is worse, Obama or Biden. I can't tell which one of them. For me, I have to still say Obama, because like I said, for 5 years, I did not have a full-time job with benefits fucking around with him. So y'all, they run the same story, but you never bring anything better. You know what I'm saying, Joe, you was gonna have things under control and this and that and the woo woo, and people up here are completely messed up and homeless. Okay, I see it, Eric. I'm not with it. Oh dang. I'm not with it. So again, you running the same trope. We don't want to be about hate. We want to be about love. I don't need you to love me. I need to be able to eat, bitch. I don't need you to love me. I need to be able to pay my bills and fucking eat. I need to not be in financial ruin burying one of my parents. That's what the fuck I need from y'all. I don't need you to like me. We don't need to be going down the street singing kumbaya, none of that bullshit. Yeah, it is. I need to be able to do what I need to do and be okay. And last time I checked, I was able to do that under Bush and Trump. I'm sorry. I just got to be real. Even though the first 2 years of Bush, baby Bush I'm talking about, was rough, the other 6 was smooth. I was cool. Went until damn Barack ass showed up that we started having problems. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
To have people pointing fingers at each other.
I don't
It's
care.
designed to do that.
Where's my check?
And I
That's
think
all-
most people
fuck
in our
that.
country, regardless of their race, are starting to see through this nonsense. And to say, you know what, let's turn the page on this. This is exhausting and it's harmful. And it's hateful. And grounded in some age-old stuff that we should not have the tolerance for. So let's turn the page and chart a new way forward and say, you can't have that
go a long
microphone
way when
again.
your money right.
Madam Vice President, I'm switching gears
quickly like
again.
that, okay.
Quick question. I want to talk to you about gun control. So you've said you support an assault weapons ban and universal background checks, and we actually learned during the debate that you are a gun owner. But in cities like Philadelphia, handguns are responsible for most homicides and
Thank you,
violent
ma'am.
crime. The most recent FBI data shows handguns were involved in 59% of murders in our country. How will you address the issue of the use of
don't
handguns?
need to hear
Because
nothing about no
push
assault
for an
weapon
assault
ban.
weapons ban only addresses a significant but small part of the problem.
So first of all, yes, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them. But we do need an assault weapons ban.
We can. Child,
Assault
listen,
weapons
tolerance
are
can increase
designed
when your
to
money
kill
right.
a lot of human beings quickly.
You ain't got to worry
Yes,
about
and
and
have
nothing
no
else.
weapons
place,
ban,
and have
yes.
no place. I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
No,
And
she
have
not.
no place.
No, she not. Who is this
on
little
the
sound like
streets of a
her?
civil society. We need universal background checks, which, to your point about handguns, is about saying that it is just reasonable to want reasonable gun safety laws that say we should do background checks that we ought to know. It's just
Don't we do
reasonable.
background?
You
They do
might wanna
background
know
checks anyway. I know they do
before
here in North
someone can buy
Carolina.
a
You
lethal
can't get
weapon,
shit.
if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves
You
or
can't
others.
get a damn
You might
thing
just
in
want
North
to know.
Carolina
And
without
respectfully, we
anything.
do understand that.
But you're asking
Yes.
about,
I'm
I'm
you're
asking
asking
specifically about handguns because many of those handguns aren't
universal
purchased in
background
places.
checks
Yes,
apply to handguns.
yes.
They do.
But in
And
many instances, those handguns aren't even bought lawfully. Yes.
Which is why I also have been very adamant for years. In fact, I myself protested at a gun show probably 10, 15 years ago about the gun show loophole and why we need to close that. Because what ends up
I thought
happening
y'all did that
is
already.
that gun shows at flea markets, gun dealers are not, under existing law in the past, required to register their sales. And so you are exactly right that a lot of homicides, for example, a good number of them, I don't have the statistic in front of my mind, are committed with illegally purchased guns. And that's why we need to address each entry point in the issue, including universal background checks, closing the gun show loophole, and what we need to do as a general matter to focus not only on reaction to crime, but prevention of crime. So you're raising a very important issue that has many facets, including what we need to do in terms of reasonable gun safety laws and what we need to do around crime prevention, what we need to do around crime deterrence. But listen, I have personally prosecuted homicide cases.
Okay, here she go.
I
But see, they still not getting to the point because you know what I'm saying, back to what you know what I'm saying, Sister Girl was saying. The handguns, the majority of those handguns that are being used in these crimes are stolen. They're breaking into people's cars, stealing guns. They're breaking into people's houses, stealing their guns. They ain't walking up into no damn gun show, presenting no fake ass ID and running the risk of being on camera to get these guns. They stealing them from people who bought their shit legally. She still ain't getting to the meat. She ain't getting to the meat, y'all. Hell no. She ain't getting to the meat. What you saying, Q? Believe that ATF themselves said that the gun show loophole doesn't exist as we've known forever. Exactly. You still got to go up in there and present ID and a couple different kinds of ID from what I understand. I know here in North Carolina where I am, like I said, they've been doing universal background checks on your ass. Yeah. I think wait time now for your gun permit is about 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks, somewhere in there. And I think conceal is longer than that. They're not playing with you. But they had a gun show here a couple months back, and the people were saying like, hell, it wasn't any faster to go to the gun show than it was, you're saying, to go to the gun dealer. We have a big one on the west side of town. And the people were like, well, the only reason we're really here is because he don't have the inventory. Like what they was looking for specifically, dude didn't have it. He said it was gonna take him about 6 months to get it. It was like, I mean, but hell, as far as the paperwork and the process, it's not any easier coming to the gun show than it is to go to the damn gun store. So what is she talking about? Got some more guns. I need some more bullets. That's where I need to be going. Give me some ammo. But anyway, this is just talking. She not getting to the point. She keep cutting sister girl off, who, you know what I'm saying, trying to redirect her to possibly give us at least one answer in this travesty of a damn conversation.
Held the hands of mothers who have come to me crying, who have said, I only want to talk to Kamala, because they knew when they sat down, I would treat them with the dignity and respect that they were entitled and due about the loss of their child, often their son, to gun violence and the need to take it seriously. And we must take it seriously.
But in order for you to, you know what I'm saying,
understanding
most people who die at the hands of gun violence
be in a comprehensive approach that deals with the tragedy of, to your point, everyday gun violence in America. It's real. It has had a profound impact in terms of trauma that for the most part has gone undiagnosed. The audience might be going for it, but I don't think these three violent. The trauma that exists in communities around the violence of losing their children, losing a brother, losing a father, an uncle, all of that must be addressed, and we have to have a holistic response to it.
Are there things we haven't thought about yet? Because every time we bring up this issue of gun violence, universal background checks comes up and a ban on assault weapons. Are there other solutions that you're also thinking about that will get at this issue?
Absolutely. For example, part of what we did as Vice President with the President, we were able to pass the first meaningful gun safety legislation in 30 years. And part of what that involved was millions and millions of dollars to put more mental health counselors in public schools.
That's what they gotta do.
Because we know that there is an aspect of this that is about treating the trauma and dealing with it at its source before it ends up manifesting itself in a problem. There is the work that we need to do that is about putting resources into communities around violence prevention. I've been a big advocate of that for years, which includes what we need to do around putting resources into community-based intervention that is not just requiring on the good people in the community to volunteer to do the intervention, but actually paying people to do it because it's a full-time job. It's about
what does it have to do with
understanding what we need to do to, again, understand that, to your point, we have to have a holistic response to this issue and prioritize it instead of reacting to the tragedy that sadly they are too predictable. Let's all agree, enough of that. There are very few solutions that we haven't thought of. We need to put the resources into them.
Madam Vice President, we want to move to the topic of reproductive access, something that you have worked and leading on both for the administration, Democrats, and now the top of the ticket. You've said that as president, you would want to codify Roe. If it came to your desk, you would sign a bill that did that. Roe protected access until fetal viability, which it also says is, quote, at about 7 months, but it may occur earlier, even at 24 weeks. So do you similarly support also codifying Roe's restrictions, which allowed states to ban abortion in the 3rd trimester of pregnancy unless necessary to save the mother's life?
We need to put the protections of Roe v. Wade back into law. And when that bill gets passed by Congress, I will proudly sign it into law. Understand what is happening in our
country. Get around the Supreme Court.
Over 20 states have passed what I call Trump abortion bans, because I understand how we got here. The former president handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. They did as he intended, and in state after state, laws have been passed criminalizing healthcare providers. I don't know if anyone here has heard most recently the stories out of Georgia. Tragic story about a young woman.
Hold on, before she go down that long ass diatribe. Are y'all familiar with what happened in Georgia? I've been doing some research because I intended to record a video on this, but we got all this other stuff going on. I'm gonna get to it though. Apparently, there was a woman who was pregnant, took the abortion pill, and her body did not pass all parts of the fetus that she aborted, and she became septic. Let me back up. She's pregnant. She took the abortion pill. Her body did not expel all of the fetus. So she developed an infection, went to the doctor. They was like, you took the abortion pill. So basically, this is the result of an abortion. I can't touch you because I'm not going to prison. And she developed sepsis and died. How's this Trump fault? So she's getting ready to try to convince y'all that because her having an AB didn't go the way she thought it would, it's Trump's fault because she should have been able to go in there and disrupt life. Well, decline management, the way I'm reading, the way I understood, DNC wasn't gonna help that. She was way too far along for that. So we talking like physically, like removing parts of this baby from her. And again, a DNC, you can have that for a variety of reasons that don't even have nothing to do with an AB. But yeah, the way the articles that I read, the way it was written up, we talking like a foot or arm or something, you know what I'm saying, didn't come out. And then she goes to the doctor and was like, I need y'all to take this out. And they was like, hell to the no. They was like, hell to the no. Yeah, okay, decline management. Yeah, you can't have a DNC to take a damn arm out. That's surgery. But yeah, so apparently all of that started is because she took the damn the AB pill and went on with her damn life, and that shit didn't work right. So yeah, I'm with them. I'm not fixing that. Apparently she was quite far along when she did it, but because she didn't pass everything over time, she, you know what I'm saying, developed the infection and then went septic. So, I mean, again, because that sparked from her taking the AB pill, technically that is bad AB, and if AB is against, you know what I'm saying, the law in Georgia, then yeah, I can't touch you. And so now we supposed to be so traumatized and blame Trump because she did. You don't have to be pregnant. You can get plenty. You could get bad dick, mediocre dick, okay dick you forgot about, the best dick of your life and not get pregnant. It is possible. So yeah, they're gonna try to use this chick as a damn martyr and try to get their point across when, again, y'all doing shit you don't have to do. Just like with them people they paraded up at the DNC and our baby died and they wouldn't take the baby out and all of this kind of shit. Then when the truth really came out, y'all didn't want them babies because them babies wasn't perfect. And they was like, we're not doing that. Because again, if y'all talking about to save the life of the mother, you ain't got to make that decision until some shit happen. Now she fall out and get the hemorrhaging. Okay, now we got to make a decision. But just because you deliver that baby don't mean that baby got to die. We need to try this bullshit again. That's why they had John Legend's ass up there, because you know him and his wife did that bullshit. They found the baby had some kind of some kind of heart defect or something, but they, you know what I'm saying, they didn't want to be bothered with the surgeries and the recovery and all of that. So, you know what I'm saying, she went on and terminated that baby at like 6.5 months. So I don't fuck with neither one of them because y'all on some bullshit. Look, that's the thing. When you have kids, you got to take what the Lord give you. He going to put you in a position to be able to handle it. So again, y'all keep talking about this life of the mother. Until that bitch fall out, her life ain't at risk. If you asking me. When she fall out, we can make the decision. But again, just because we saved one, don't mean the other one can't make it. Let's cut the bullshit. That's usually what happens with preeclampsia. The baby can suffocate because the cord wrapped around them and then the placenta collapse and she can bleed to death. You can save both of them. So y'all cut the bullshit. I'm not with it. So yeah, I don't care nothing about her and her foolishness. Because again, if you had gone to a doctor and got that done, they typically don't leave shit behind. So I don't want to hear. What's going on, broker to this? Yeah, this just happened about 2 hours ago. And she ain't answered not near question. Yeah, I don't do John Legend. I don't do Chris. Neither one of them. Because there was no reason. Y'all just didn't want to be bothered. But her first he rainbow anyway. That whole marriage is a damn beard. It's some beard action. I'm not a fan. So that's why, you know, he was up at the DNC because he down with all of that. But she answered not their question, broken traditions, not one. And it's two males and a female on this panel. And the female keep trying to, you know what I'm saying, box her into these questions. Like she giving us some pushback and she not handling it well. She is not handling it well at all.
Because it appears the people who should have given her health care were afraid they'd be criminalized.
They would.
After the Dobbs decision came down. Laws that make no exception even for rape or incest, which means that you're telling a survivor of a crime of a violation
So we're going off what they say. What can you
they
prove?
have no right to make a decision
Y'all
about
be lying.
what happens to their body next, which is immoral.
Y'all be lying.
An approach that doesn't take into account that most people, I think, agree you don't have to abandon your faith or deeply held beliefs to
yes,
agree.
you do if you're doing
The
that.
government should not be telling her what to do with her body. If she chooses, she will talk with her pastor, her priest.
So if her pastor tell her to go sit down
imam.
somewhere.
But it should not be the government or Donald Trump telling her what to do about
I didn't
her
know
own
Trump
body
was
and
bigger
her
than the
life.
government, y'all. This
So
is
that's
some
where
new
I stand. We
information
need to
for
put
me.
back in place the protection of Roe v. Wade.
I didn't know Trump was
put
bigger
that
than
into
the
law.
government.
And those restrictions that are also in.
We need to put back in place the protections of Roe
Put it
v.
back
Wade
like it
and
was.
let an individual in consultation with her doctor make the decision based on what she can determine, because she's smart enough to know
No, she not.
what's in her best interest instead of having her government tell her
No,
what to
she
do.
not.
Especially a bunch of people in these state capitals who think they're in a better position to tell her what to do than she is.
Bitch,
to know
when you
what's
up
in
there
her
with
best
him?
interest.
Ain't you up
Before
there
we
with
conclude,
him?
Madam Vice President, Joyful Warrior has been used to describe
You
your
didn't see that just a
campaign.
minute ago, though. Okay, I'm
And-
back to my joyful part.
And your opponent and Republicans have at times weaponized you laughing in campaign ads, for example. Why is joy important to you to insert into this election? And what do you?
I told you I don't
make
need you to
of,
like me. I don't need to be joyful
Republicans
about nothing. I need my
using
money.
that as a way to suggest that you're not a
I
serious
need
candidate?
eggs not to be $6.
Well,
That's
sometimes
what I need.
think, and I'll say to whoever the young people are who are watching this,
I need my
there's
favorite
sometimes
bacon
when
not
your
to be
adversaries
$12.
will try and turn your strength into a weakness. Don't you let them. Don't you let them. I find joy in the American people. I
Ooh,
find
that's
joy
corny as hell.
and optimism in what I see to be our future and our ability to invest in it. I find joy in the ambition of the people. I find joy in the dreams of the people. I find joy in building community. I find joy in building coalitions. I find joy in believing that
Ma'am,
the
they
true
just
measure
asked
of
you
the strength
about
of a
building
leader
a
is not
coalition and
based
you
on
couldn't
who
even
you
answer
beat
the
down, but who
question.
you lift up. And I think we should all find joy and have a sense of optimism about who we are as Americans and what we mean to each other and what we can do to lift each other up.
Madam Vice President,
Madam-
President Biden spoke to former President Trump after the attempt on his life this weekend. Have you spoken to him?
I have,
And earlier today, I assume.
yes.
How'd that go? You want to give us some intel?
Sure, I checked on to see if he was okay.
Yeah.
And I told him what I have said publicly. There's no place for political violence in our country.
Mm-hmm.
I am in this election and in this race for many reasons, including
Hey,
to fight for our
revolution.
democracy.
So we got that
And
joy.
in a democracy, there is no place for political violence. We can and should have healthy debates and discussion.
Man, we have not had a debate this whole election
Not
season.
resort to violence to resolve those issues.
On January 6th, your vehicle was allowed to kind of pass a viable pipe bomb. We've seen.
No, I was in the
these-
building.
You were in the building.
Uh-huh.
And we've seen what's happening with former President Trump. Do you have full confidence in the Secret Service to
I do.
protect all of you?
I do,
You feel safe, you and your family?
I do. But I mean, you can go back to
Tell it's
Ohio,
real easy to have confidence when you know who doing the damn shooting.
and there are far too many people in our country right now who are not feeling safe. I mean, I look at Project 2025.
Oh, here we go.
Look at,
She was not gonna miss the opportunity.
like the Don't Say Gay laws coming out of Florida. Members of the LGBTQ community don't feel safe right now.
Exactly, broken traditions.
immigrants, For
Exactly.
people with
2
an
months
immigrant
later, they
background
still
don't feel
talking
safe
about it.
right now. Women don't feel safe right now. And
I mean, as a
so,
woman, let me be quiet.
yes, I feel safe. I have Secret Service protection, but that doesn't change my perspective on the importance of fighting for the safety of everybody in our country, and doing everything we can to, again, lift people up and not beat people down so they feel alone and are made to feel small and made to feel like they're somehow not a part of it or us.
Madam Vice President, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. I've appreciated it.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you, exactly. Completely just off the conversation. Hey, Draco. Child, Child, they wasn't impressed. They was not impressed with all that right there. But child, he too damn grown for all of this, what he got going on. He too grown for this. He too grown. And nobody had everybody pants was off. Well, I'm speaking as far as the men. And everybody had on these hot water ass pants. Like, no, you too grown for this. But thank you, Broker Traditions. I appreciate your support. No, they wasn't feeling it. They wasn't impressed. They wasn't impressed. I'm going ahead and speak for them. They wasn't impressed. I took myself out. Yeah, they wasn't impressed. Hold on. Child, they wasn't impressed. Ooh, child. Too grown for all of that right there. Too grown. Looking like child, what was his? Oh, what his name? Y'all know y'all saw Holiday Heart with Ving Rhames. What his boyfriend named Shep? He looking just sir. Yeah, go ahead, let that go. Y'all got to move. What you say, Broken Traditions? She don't move the needle for us independent voters to get behind her. Exactly. But yeah, you know, she can't go anywhere without talking about Project 2025. She can't do it. She just will not do it. She won't do it. So hey. The fourth, he just came on. Trying to see if so she popped up because she been taking heat because she didn't come on with Trump, and she's still not gaining any ground. So she figured she come on and finally say she black, because she slipped that part in, but we was listening. And see if she could get some votes, but that ain't working for me. It ain't working. I'm a vote for Cornel West. Y'all keep on playing. That's what I'm gonna do. Cause I'm about to be like Jason Black, cut the check. Cut the check. Hold on. Something's going on outside the courthouse with Diddy. I'm like, yeah, that lady. Yeah, that lady won't be voting for her. Yeah, you know that. Yeah. But yeah, those three were not impressed with her at all, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. So again, we have seen our vice president come and so-called make her case. Because I thought the question, personally, the question about, you know, what is she offering to black men? I thought for me that was the best question of the session, but of course, you know, we didn't get an answer. And I have to say, after covering both conventions, that was one of the things that I had the most respect for Republicans for. They made it a point to reach out to black people, especially black men. It was black male influence all through that convention. Black male perspective from all walks of life. Broke. Used to be broke, but I'm not there yet. Still not there yet, but I'm getting there. All the way to I'm all the way on. It was you could see the influence of black men from all over. East Coast, West Coast, where, you know, Midwest, wherever. And on the Democrat side, it just seemed to be a constant campaign of we're gonna erase black men. What you say? You came in late. Did they ask her about immigration? No, they didn't touch immigration. Okay, who in the Escalade? Is Diddy in the Escalade? It's almost 5:00. Is he in the Escalade? I can't tell. I'm trying to. It's some coverage from Associated Press in New York. Trying to see what was going on. But yeah, there was no acknowledgement and definitely no respect for black men at that Democratic National Convention. So if I didn't have nothing for them before, I definitely don't have anything for them now. I don't know. I'm trying to see, because now word on the street, it ain't word on the street because I actually pulled it up. As far as Diddy, y'all know, he got arrested, he got, charges or whatnot. He's supposed to be arraigned, and they put in a request to have him detained. But his legal team actually put in a bail proposal package, and they willing to put 50 mil to get him out. But I'll go into that in more detail in a little while, because like I said, I actually have the whole document. I just got to go through it. But yeah, word on the street is they're willing to put up 50 million to get him out. So whether or not that's gonna happen, because usually even if you when you're arraigned and you get bail, it's not usually all in the same time. You still got to go back, and they got the process and wait for your paperwork and your money and all them good things. So if he is being released, and let's say he's on house arrest, it'll be sometime tonight. But we'll see, and I'll definitely let y'all know what's going on with that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to see our vice president not answer any questions as usual. But hats off to the moderators, because they was pressing her. They pressed her a little bit, especially Sister Girl, which I know she wasn't ready for, because she's not used to black women pushing back. But Sister Girl was pushing, and pushing hard. So, go ahead, it's almost 5 o'clock now. Town hall with Sarah Huckabee Sanders is supposed to start around 7. So we will be back taking a look at that. You're welcome, Kubaloo. Definitely come back at 7 so we can see what Trump and Sarah talk about. It's probably gonna be good. But we'll see. So make sure you have your notifications on. Make sure you got your popcorn, your ice cream, your sweet tea, whatever it is you're gonna need. Because yeah, this town hall, I think it's gonna be interesting. So I will see you guys then. And again, thank you for stopping by. Broken Traditions, thank you so much for your support. And I will see you guys in a couple of hours.